Okay, here we go. All right. Hello, everyone. This is our Friday, June 3rd episode of Between Two Teachers. And we're bringing you information about, the latest issues in education. And the biggest issue right now is for safety for all of us, uppermost on our minds. So, my name is Consuelo Lara.
And I am Madeline Cronenberg, and I will begin, as always, with our land acknowledgement. We pause to acknowledge that we have gathered on the ancestral territory of Hui Chin, part of the unceded land of the Chochenyo and Karken-speaking Muwekma Ohlone people. We remember their continued connection to this region and give thanks to them for allowing us to live, work, learn, and pray on their traditional homeland. We offer our respect to their elders and all Ohlone people, past and present. And the first thing I want to talk about today is, in fact, an issue that has come up for a way for us to honor the Ohlone people. And that is to support an effort to bring them back to be federally recognized as a tribe. And what that means is that members of the Ohlone tribe would be able to get the benefits of federal recognition. And for complicated reasons of the past, the California legislature didn't support that. And so they were dropped from being federally recognized. And there is an effort now in our legislature to bring that recognition back to them. And it's called Senate Joint Resolution SJR 13. And it's entitled, here it is. The measure would urge the United States Congress and the Department of the Interior and the Bureau of Indian Affairs to reaffirm and restore the Muwekma Ohlone tribe as a federally recognized Indian tribe and include the Muwekma Ohlone tribe in the Federal Register as a recognized tribe. So for all of us who are not legislators, we can sign the change.org petition. And just, you can, I put it on Facebook and on Twitter and on LinkedIn, but you can just search it. Please sign it and share it out. It also can be, there are resolutions that could be passed by those of you in elected spaces. And elected certainly can sign individually as well as having elected bodies support this. I think this is a no-brainer.
Yeah, this is pretty serious call to action for sure that we could all do it.
We can all do
this. And as groups and whatever organizations we belong to, we can all support this. This is wonderful.
Right. And actually, I was thinking there is a leader who spoke, and perhaps the Concilio could have the speaker on this Senate resolution come and speak at the Concilio.
Oh, that's great.
Do you think?
Yes.
That's an ideal opportunity for that network of folks to support this.
Good.
So,
Yes.
So everyone, any network you're in, should be willing and open to supporting this. This is something that was wrong. They shouldn't have been dropped, and they need to come back. They need to come back, and there's a mechanism to do it now.
Very good.
Nationally, I mean, the biggest news nationally, of course, in education right now is not about education. It's about the fear of going into the buildings, right? It's about all of the issues around safety, gun safety, and the mental health issues. The mental health issues are real, and we all do need to put resources into mental health. And every family after the pandemic has been traumatized to one degree or another. Nobody was left untouched. And people have different ways of reacting to that. But we really, really need I think, to understand it's not going to get better by itself. Right? We need to take specific actions so that our children and our communities feel safe.
Yeah. You know, this reminds me that, remember that the poem you read last time about how every teacher thinks about it. Every teacher looks around their room and thinks, what would I do if?
Right.
And if teachers don't feel safe, you know that it's affecting your students. The child is the center of all of this. And it's teachers who have to protect them.
Yep.
And we had 2 teachers give their lives trying to protect those children. And then the other person that really, the parents who have to then let go of that child and take them to that building. And so those are, I mean, that's, how do we, it's our responsibility. I'm an elected, and any of us who, you know, are in that arena, we need to think about those individuals and how do we keep those people safe? How do we make sure they're the ones, you know, concerned about the safety and the lives of their little young ones? So that's where we are right now, and that's critical.
We have to have a line of communication open, right? To understand what kind of support people need to feel safe.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there are communities, I think that the conversations around SROs and school resource officers, police officers in school, who needs to be armed, who doesn't need to be armed, what does it say that we have to have somebody who's armed in school? Does that make you feel more safe? Does it trigger other things? I mean, all of those conversations, they have to be restarted and revisited.
Yeah.
Because this new, and it's not new, it's happening every day. That's the other thing. It's happening every day in different places, and we just need to recognize it is a crisis, right? And gun violence, I believe the county of Contra Costa has determined that gun violence is a health crisis.
That's right. That's right. You know, and that's the thing. We even a friend of mine looked under the CSBA safety policies. There's some good stuff in there, and
Right.
that we could, as school board members, county board members, bring those up, you know, and look at those. It's like we've got so much good stuff on paper, and we can check stuff off, but we're not, in terms of implementing it, we're falling short of looking at these things. So it's kind of like, you know, the best practices are there.
Right.
We don't have
It's
to
just,
reinvent the wheel.
it's easy to let it go, to let it slide.
Just ignore it. Yeah, because, oh, that's not going to happen here, so we don't have to worry
It's
about it.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen here, right? Oh, it would never happen here.
Yeah,
I mean, I think Uvalde and Newtown are the two that, when you look at them, are at the two ends of the socioeconomic scale, right? The children in Newtown were all white, almost pretty much, and very affluent. That's a very affluent part of Connecticut, and so that's who they were. And so was the killer. He was also. The children in Uvalde come from a very different economic background, socioeconomic background, which I think was another thing that framed the response. It was a community that was under-resourced in a lot of different ways.
Right.
And people have to look at that. That's another part of the picture. But the part that is identical is the trauma of losing and the fear that both communities have now, and everybody else. It's, you know, it's not just them. This is spread through our whole society. But whether or not that will mean that changes get made in Washington that have any meaning, that are meaningful, is another whole question, because so many people have dug in on the issue of guns.
yeah, exactly. And it's a hard thing, and that's why we like to bring call to action, things, how, because sometimes you go, what can we do? There's a lot that we can do
Yeah.
in promoting those kind of things. We bring that to you, and for me personally, I just think I have to, okay, let's bring it in. Let's look at what is my sphere of influence. What can I do where I am, the position that I'm in? And I'm on the county board, I'm here on this platform and Concilio. And so I got to look at those networks and see what we can do and start looking at solutions and start giving hope that, yeah, we can,
And letting people know they're being heard. I think that the other part is to create venues for people to be heard, right? For the parents who are terrified to bring a kindergartner to school in September. They need to be heard. We need to have a way to make sure you are heard. And some districts and leaders are role models in how to do that well, and others need to learn from them.
Yeah, they do. They do. So we got to all do whatever we can to protect our children, our schools, our and that advocacy. We are advocates, and the collaboration. That's what's missing in a lot of these things. Bringing everybody to the table that's affected by these issues. So that's a good place to start.
Right, and to not feel that bringing people to the table will create more problems. I mean, what you see in crisis management, the playbook for crisis management is to step back and say as little as possible, and that will go away. That literally is a crisis management playbook, because you're anticipating litigation. You're acting. That's the playbook.
That's right.
Right. So that playbook is fine if all you want to do is operate with the litigation in mind, and that's wrong. That shouldn't be what you're doing as an elected.
No.
That has nothing to do with serving your public.
Yeah. We've got to bring everybody together. It's got to be about, well, our constituents, which includes children, families, parents, and our city councils, our police departments in our county. We got 18 school districts.
Right.
Well, there's a lot of board members, a lot of city councils, a lot of police departments. And so a convening county-wide and bringing in our board of supervisors,
right, because they are siloed, and maybe they're not, and maybe they can tell us, oh no, we talk all the time. Well, then we would know, oh well, you talk all the time. That would be a handy thing for the public to know.
Yes.
That's a bad thing for the public to know. That's a good thing for the public to know.
Yeah, exactly.
So if in fact you are doing all of this, and you're doing it in a way that the public's not aware of, come share out that you are doing it, and let us see how those best practices work, and let us know how successful you've been.
Yeah.
Right. And we know that there have been a lot of successes. There have been, there was one in Berkeley the other day. There was a 16-year-old who it's in the paper now, how he was planning something, and that was stopped.
Yep.
And there are probably many other things that have stopped, but we have to have the conversations.
Yeah.
We just need to have them.
I think our goal is to break down those silos. That's what we need to do. Break down the silos.
Right.
It's reaching out. It means
right. And not being afraid to, in fact, admit things, because you're worried that later on it will be used against you in court.
Yeah.
Right.
Against people, well, I don't want people to think I'm not doing a good job by myself. What a good job is partnership. A good job is collaboration.
Yeah, a good job is debriefing after things happen, right? And so the after report here is that this something has happened that we can see was a tremendous tragedy. We don't want it to happen to us. We want to learn from mistakes that were made, and we want to know what we can all do better. And that's a fair conversation, and it's not a good idea to not have it.
Yeah.
Because it just settles in, and the children, the people who are afraid are never going to be able to process it if you don't at least say, hey, some of us are talking about it. You want to come and talk.
We cannot ignore this and just look the other way. We've got to face it and talk about it. Okay.
It's really true. So we will not ignore it here. We're going to keep talking about it. We will point you to the organizations that are doing things, just as we did with the change.org and the work with the tribe. This is another tribe. This is the parent tribes that needs to be activated around something that everyone can agree on, that we want to keep our children safe. And we want all of our society safe. So the steps have to be taken to do that. What else was I going to talk about? There are a lot of issues. There are still issues in around the bills that are in Congress, but I think we'll talk about that next time when we talk some more about bills and the books that are continuing to be banned. I mean, we have this giant conservative movement that is landing in various parts of the country and making it very difficult for teachers to be the successful teachers they want to be. And that actually there's a website that calls them the education gag orders, because there are hundreds of them and they're being passed in state after state. California and New York, the more liberal states, don't have this as a threat to them, but definitely the red states do. So we can talk about that. That certainly continues to be an important thing. It's to understand the banned book issue, and that none of these books. I mean, if you just told the story of what happened, they would ban it.
Yep.
Yeah, it's very, very sad. So,
Okay.
what else did you want to talk about? Anything else that's happening at the county?
Well, yeah, I do want to talk about things that are on my mind that, like I said, looking at my sphere of influence, thinking about things I could do, and let's see what what you think about these things. As the board member, we approve the budget, and what I'm thinking is we need to look at our budgets and look at how are we budgeting for safety. I think that's a really good one that we could do, the SROs, that's an issue. We need to find out the status of that. There was after George Floyd, there was, we see, our police departments have a lot of issues that we've got to look at. And so it kind of all came down to SROs, but I don't think people really understand how important the SROs, the role that they play. And it's just like, it was just like being a teacher out on yard duty, just your presence kept kids in line. Like somebody's got to be out there, because kids are like, oh, nobody's looking, I'll act like a crazy person, whatever. But your presence of SROs, it's like, oh, they're taking care of us. We're safe, or we can be safer, feel safer about those. So those are issues that come up. But the high idea of collaboration and partnerships, that's what I'm really thinking a lot about bringing together people. Maybe we have a special meeting on our safety issues at our schools, and that could be our convening. And we listen. We want them to know we're on this, we're listening, we are going to act, and we're going to be inclusive of the people that are being most affected. We want to hear you. We want to hear your stories. We want to hear your fears. And then as a collaborative, we want to address them.
Right.
So,
and the addressing is to come up with solutions, and every solution costs money. Yes. Right. This is the thing. You're deploying somebody, you're taking a resource and you're applying it. And that's why it is completely a board decision.
Yeah.
Right. In collaboration, it's a budget decision in collaboration with everybody who has to approve the budget, but it needs to really be looked at if you're going to make a change.
Yeah. Yeah, we do. We do. That's something that it is our purview. So we do need to take a look at that and examine. So that's for me, my own kind of call to action and sharing that as much as I can and reaching out myself to find out what's like, for instance, what the Board of Supervisors is doing, the county Board of Supervisors. Maybe they're doing
Right.
a lot.
Right. And what funding you can, this is the other interesting thing. When you reach out, you find out where are areas that we can be partners,
Yes, yes, yeah.
right? And there are grant programs. There are all these interesting opportunities that present themselves when you do partner.
Yeah.
That when you don't talk to each other at all, well, you have no idea, right?
Kind of like, I've been bringing those bills that support CTE, and a lot of them have the community college as part of it. And I said, why don't we send these to the community college and ask them to also write some? And everybody's like, oh, well, that's a good idea. I was like, this should be something we do all the time. We co-author or we
Right.
co-support. Yeah. And much like the about the tribes, that's the joint, action. That's the kind of thing that we could do together. So yeah, that's for me, that's my job. I need to work on those things. So
It's an important thing to do. The other thing I wanted to talk about this week, just to give a shout out to the state of California's, who are they? They are the folks that came, here it is. The folks that were appointed to the AB 3121 reparations task force. This is California looking at what we can do as a state in terms of moving forward on reparations for our Black community. And the task force has come out with their first report. And it's over 400 pages. It has a number of preliminary recommendations and findings. And first of all, I recommend that people read it. I haven't finished reading it. The findings, I think, are really important. I think that California, this is another place that California is absolutely leading. And we want to California doesn't always lead. Sometimes we're the last. But in this, we are a leader. And we need to pay attention to it and support them and support the ultimately the recommendations that do come out. And they're going to go also on a listening tour. They want to get this out into the public and have more input. So that is still happening with them. So pay attention to that as we see opportunities. I will be sure to share it here so people do get a chance to become part of the steps that are being taken towards reparations in California.
Yeah, we should give updates each time, every time we meet, so that we can let people know where that is on reparations. Absolutely.
Yeah, this is it. The updates on that and the updates on the tribal issue.
Yes, we'll report on that every week.
Both of those. And then I'm ready to give my shout out.
All right.
So my shout out this week is to an extraordinary teacher who is retiring, Dr. LaRue Moore, who is currently teaching at Kennedy High School in Richmond. And Dr. Moore is one of the most extraordinary teachers I've ever seen. He made connections to his students that were deep and real. He cared for them. He understood them. He followed up with them. He was incredibly creative in how he went about teaching. He was a high-tech guy, but he was very low-tech in how much he cared. And he will be very, very missed from the classroom. And I know and I hope as he goes on in his future that he will continue to stay connected to all of us in education and to the many, many, many students that he mentored and supported over his many years in education as a teacher.
Absolutely. Yeah. Teachers change lives. I'll bet he changed a lot of students' lives.
He changed a lot, and he was the superstar of best practices. He was the teacher who I remember asking him once, your class, you were able to keep the students coming to your classroom. Students who didn't want to go to other classes went to Mr. Moore's class, and it wasn't the easiest class. It was like the hardest class. And he said, well, one of the answers to that is I get a tub of chicken and go visit them at home. Go visit their home.
Homes, that is something.
He wasn't afraid of the home visit.
Oh my gosh, above and beyond. What a wonderful.
Way above and beyond. So to Dr. LaRue Moore, congratulations on your retirement, Dr. Moore. And I look forward to hoping you have a wonderful future in your retirement and enjoy it.
Yes, absolutely.
With that, and many other people are retiring this the end of the school year. Good luck to all of you. And bye-bye.
Bye-bye.